Your life path number is calculated from your full date of birth, month, day, and year in that order. And in numerology, it's considered the blueprint of who you are, this number. Think of it like how your sun sign works in astrology, your own personal main character energy. Except in a numerology chart, the life path is the one that's supposed to carry the most weight and the most influence over everything else. Hey, beautiful soul, welcome to Spirit Speakeasy. I'm Joy Giovanni, Joyful Medium. I'm a working psychic medium, energy healer, and spiritual gifts mentor. This podcast is like a seat at the table in a secret club, but with mediums, mystics, and the spiritual luminaries of our time. So come behind the velvet ropes with me and see inside my world as I chat insider style with profoundly gifted souls. We go deep, share juicy stories, laugh a lot, and it wouldn't be a speakeasy without great insider secrets and tips. You might even learn you have some spiritual gifts of your own. So step inside Spirit Speakeasy. What if I told you there is a single number hiding right in your birthday that you have been carrying around since the day you were born that could explain why you keep ending up in the same kind of relationships, the same kind of situations, why certain jobs drain you and others light you up, for example, why you handle stress the way you do? Would you want to know what that number is? Because it takes about 30 seconds of basic addition to find out. It is called your life path number, and it is one of the most important numbers in numerology. Today, we're breaking it down, what it is, how to calculate yours in the next few minutes, what each number means, and a couple of pro tips that most people never hear. Hey, beautiful soul, welcome in for another episode of Spirit Speakeasy. Here is what you will walk away with by the end of today's episode: what a life path number actually is and why numerologists consider it the main character energy of your whole numerology chart, how exactly to calculate your own life path number, simple, easy, step-by-step method you could do using your fingers right now. 3, a Cliff Notes breakdown of every life path number 1 through 9, plus the 3 master numbers, and a couple of pro tips for going deeper once you know your own number. So grab a pen if you are somewhere safe to do so, or pull up the calculator app on your phone, and you're going to want your exact birth date. You don't need the time of your birth for this one, just your date of birth. Let's get into it. So let's start at the foundation. Your life path number is calculated from your full date of birth, month, day, and year in that order. And in numerology, it's considered the blueprint of who you are, this number. Think of it like how your sun sign works in astrology, your own personal main character energy. Except in a numerology chart, the life path is the one that's supposed to carry the most weight and the most influence over everything else. I sometimes like to think of this as the special lens that you personally see and move through the world with. It's sort of how you greet situations. It really colors everything in your experience. And what it actually can tell you, according to numerologists, is that your life path number points to things like your natural strengths and talents, like the stuff that just comes easily to you, the core lessons or challenges that you're likely to keep circling back to in your life. Even tells you how you tend to operate in relationships, in career, in decision making. And it can really help you understand the general energy or theme running underneath your life story. Now, here's a quick little just reality check. This is numerology, not science. Nobody is claiming that there is a peer-reviewed study proving that your birthday somehow dictates your personality, but whether you treat this as literal metaphysics or just as fun, it is a surprisingly accurate personality reflection tool. Like the big 3 in a horoscope or like the Enneagram test, people have been using this for centuries to get language for patterns that they already sense in themselves. So think of this as just another tool in your toolbox to get insights into yourself and to help you with your growth and stepping into your best life. Just another tool for you. Okay, let's find your personal life path number. It's probably easier than you think. So here's the method that most professional or numerologists, actually use. It's called the Pythagorean method. Don't worry about the name. It's a more precise, uh, going a little bit deeper than just the like add everything together in your birthday shortcut that you've probably seen before. Since we're going a little deeper in this episode, I'm going to teach you the actual way to do it. Again, it's very simple, but the difference is it's the only way to kind of catch the master numbers 11, 22, and 33, which don't get reduced any further. So there's a super easy few step process to finding your life path number. Step one is, well, first, obviously, get your date of birth. For if you're a visual person, you might need to jot it down. I actually jot mine down in the note section of my phone and just write down your birth date. So write down the month you were born, whatever the number is. Write down the day you were born, whatever that number is, and the whole year you were born. So 19, whatever, or 2000, whatever, the whole number. And reduce your birth month, let's start with that one, to a single digit or master number. So January is 1, that's already a single number. February is a 2, already a single number, all the way up. And if you're born in October, for example, that's a 10. So 1 plus 0 equals 1. So whatever that month number is, you're just reducing it to a single number. Now, here's the exception. November stays as an 11 because that's a master number. So if you get a master number here, such as 11, 22, or 33, don't reduce it further, just keep it as it is. So if 11, 22, or 33 shows up, just leave it there and we'll add more later. So just do the month first, one single digit number. And next we're going to move on to the day of your birth and reduce the day, your birth, the actual day you were born, to a single digit number or master number. So for example, if you were born on the 15th of a month, you would add 1 plus 5, which equals 6. If you were born on the 29th of the month, you would add 2 plus 9, that equals 11. So you just leave it as 11 right there. So reducing that day of your month to a single digit number. Step 3 is super easy. As you might think, we're going to reduce the year of your birth to a single digit number or master number. So add all 4 of those numbers together. If you were born, for example, in 1988, you would add 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 8, which equals 26. And then you would add those together. 2 plus 6 equals 8. So you just want to reduce the year to one single digit. But if you get a master number here, don't add it further. If it's an 11, 22, or 33, you just leave it as that. Now, step 4 is that you add all 3 results together and reduce to one final single digit number. Whatever you get from the month, the day, and the year, you add all of those 3 numbers up. And if the total is a 2-digit number that isn't 11, 22, or 33, you just keep adding the numbers together till you get one single digit number. Now, if you do get 11, 22, or 33 as you're adding those, and it would have to all add to 11, 22, or 33. If there's an 11, 22, or 33 in there, that's okay. But it's the final number. If that final number shows up as 11, don't add it more, or 22, don't add it more, or 33, don't add it more. But if that final number, when you're adding them all together, shows up as anything else, keep adding them until you get just one single digit number. Okay, a little pro tip here. Hitting a master number in the mid calculation, meaning if you saw it, like let's say an 11 anywhere else in there, it doesn't necessarily mean your final life path number is going to be a master number. So even if you had a master number somewhere above in the math, it's okay if you don't have it as your final number. There's numerology is also, like everything else, a really deep study of itself, and the individual numbers you can look into a little bit deeper, but we're just doing life path today, which is so exciting. So let's run a real number. I'm going to give you an example just so you can see how easy the math is. We're going to take someone who's born on October 22nd, 1980. So their month is October. That's the number 10 month. So 10 plus 1 equals 1. So they would reduce their month to just 1. The day is 22 in this example. So 2 plus 2 equals 4. So that would be their single digit date. And the year is 1980 in this example. So we would add 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 0, which equals 18. And then we would add the 1 and 8 together to get 9. And then you add them all. So take the 1, the 4, and the 9 and add them all together. That equals 14. And then you reduce it even further. 1 plus 4 is 5. So that person's life path number would be 5. One rule to remember here: always reduce the month, the day, and the year separately first. That's kind of the key to this special way of doing the math. Instead of just adding them straight across the board, we want to reduce first the month, then the day, and then the year, just because sometimes we can accidentally miss a master number or create a fake master number, and then it's just a little bit more accurate. I want you to have the real one. So do it in 3 separate chunks. Okay, what number did you get? What is your life path number? Next, we are going to see what it means. So when you've done all your math and added it all together and you get your one single digit number, or 11, 22, or 33, here is what it means about you. Okay, I want to give a little quick disclaimer before I dive into giving you the cheat sheet version of all these numbers. These are the headlines of the meanings of these life path numbers. It's not the full novel. Each number has way more depth than we can possibly cover in one episode, as you might imagine. So think of it as like a movie trailer, not the whole movie. You can take your number once you have it and kind of get this little Cliff Notes short version of it and search it up online and go even deeper into your life path number if you want. And as we go through these numbers, remember, all of these characteristics live on a spectrum. So these qualities that I'm going to describe for each of these numbers, it can be in the positive or in the challenge. Any quality of ourselves, let's say the quality of being a giver, someone who's like very good at giving and a beautiful giver. When it's used in the positive, obviously we know giving is a good thing. Generosity is lovely. When it's in the challenge or there's like something unhealed there, we can give to the point where we are so drained, exhausted, depleted. That's not a healthy version of giving, right? So that's what I mean here. All of the characteristics that we're going to name, it all is on a spectrum. There's light and shade to every quality, and depending often like how much work we've done on ourselves or how our life has gone so far can color the way that these qualities and characteristics show up in our lives. And also, if you hear your life path number description and you think like, well, I don't know if that quite fits. I want you to think also about all the things that have colored your experience in your life, all the things that have happened to you or that you've been through and experienced. And sometimes those things, particularly if they're hard things in our life, can kind of move us away from the natural qualities of who we are as a soul to begin with. So also be tuning in for that. And I can feel some of you thinking it. Yes, you can also do this math and hear these themes for your kiddos, your partner, your best friend, your boss, anyone that you can know their full birth date. You can find out their life path number and have just more insights into what makes them, their motivation, how best to communicate with them. So these numbers are really powerful. Okay, now that you probably have your life path number dialed in and get the single digit or the master number, let us go over them. I'm going to start with life path 1 because that's the easiest number to start with. Life path 1 is the leader. They are independent. They are driven. They're really a natural starter. Some people think of them as like a pioneer. They're highly original, are ones. They're wired to lead. They're not wired necessarily to follow the beaten path. Sometimes they're a little quirky or a little colorful in their own way because they carve out their own path rather than taking a conventional route a lot of the times. And even when a 1 is in a conventional route or career, often they're doing it with their own flavor or in some revolutionary or out of the box type of way. So with all of these, I forgot to mention, I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes kind of characteristics. I'm going to give you the growth point for each number, and I'm going to give you the personal mission. So you'll get to hear all of those. So for Life Path 1, the growth point is learning collaboration instead of always going it alone. And I will say here, often with a Life Path 1, some version of their younger life is where they feel all alone or all on their own, or perhaps they want to be in community or want to be collaborating and keep getting kind of just pushed back on their own. So it can show up as a little bit of a hill when we're younger to help us be able to use this as a growth point. So, growth point for Life Path 1, learning collaboration instead of only going it alone. The personal mission then for Life Path 1 is to be first, not needing anyone's permission and not for the credit, but because someone has to prove the door isn't locked. And a number one would rather find out themselves than wonder. So, it's a really beautiful mission. I don't need anyone's permission to get started, to create, to lead, and are not afraid to be the one to push the door open and then hold it open and help the others through is really part of this kind of learning collaboration. Okay, Life Path 2. They are the peacemaker. They're incredibly intuitive. They're very diplomatic, right? They can see both sides of a situation, of a question. They're deeply tuned into other people's emotions. Often, twos as children are put in situations where they might be having to like mitigate or moderate for parents or for other siblings. They're a little bit the mediator, right? So, what else with two? They are the glue often in relationships and teams. They're connectors. They're very good at bringing people together, at validating two sides in a disagreement, or even when someone's collaborating, they're very good at kind of taking the best from all of the ideas and stitching them together. So the growth point for a two then is not losing themselves while keeping everyone else comfortable. This can tip into shades of the people pleaser here. So their growth point is to stand in their own power and not lose themselves while they're doing their natural mediation and collaboration. The personal mission then of the Life Path number 2 is to show the world that gentleness is its own kind of strength, and that real connection is built quietly, one honest moment at a time. That is the mission of the Life Path 2. Life Path 3 then is the communicator. They are creative, they are expressive, they are this magnetic energy. And when I say communication, creation, expression, often they have some artistic pursuit about them, but it's a pursuit that wants to be communicated. So think of like expressive dance. Musicians often have a Life Path 3. It can also be someone that performs on stage of any kind in any way, right? It can be writers that want to have this creative expression, but they often do have this magnetic quality about them. They can be very charming. They're wonderful writers and performers. They like fun. They often, it's not to say they never have like an introverted needing to go with inside of them, because all creatives do, but they really can be this social spark in a room when they choose to be. So the growth point then for Life Path 3 is kind of channeling their own scattered creative energy into something that is focused and finished. They're a little bit of a social and creative butterfly. So part of their growth is learning to channel all of that excited, busy, social creative energy into finished products or projects to then share with the world. The personal mission of the Life Path 3 is to give a voice to something, a feeling, an idea, a story, something that other people didn't have words for until the 3 said it out loud. All of these are really beautiful energies. So one is not greater than another. They're all beautiful and very necessary in their own right. Life Path 4 is the builder. They are practical. They are often disciplined. They do very well with like routine, structure. They often will fight against it, but when they have their own routine dialed in, they usually feel like, oh my gosh, so relieving. They are usually incredibly reliable. When they commit to something, they are committed. They are loyal, sometimes to a fault. Fours build the foundation that everyone else stands on. They also tend to like rules and structure. Because if we're building a foundation and they want it to be, they're loyal, they want it to be equitable for everyone, They want to know what the rules are, and they can get a little abrasive if someone is like breaking the rules or outside of the rules, which is just kind of something to know. But when they're able to have that structure in a way that functions well for them, they can thrive incredibly. Sometimes fours are humanitarians, are activists, are lawyers, lots of pursuits like that that kind of can use the rules in order for the benefit of all, is what I want to say. Their personal mission, the number 4 life path, is to create something durable. The growth point of a life path 4 is kind of loosening the grip on control and routine enough to let spontaneity in. They're doing this fine balancing act between structure and routine and keeping things rigid, and also needing to learn to like have fun and spontaneity and be loose. So that's their growth point, is they need the structure and they need the order, but it can't be so rigid that they're in that position of like wanting to control and be too tight. That's their growth point. Now, the mission, the personal mission of the Life Path 4 is to create something durable in the real world, full of shortcuts, proof that steady, like diligent effort actually adds up to something. So they really want to build structures and things in the world for people that is created in a durable, real world way and can be shared. Now, Life Path 5, they're a lot of fun too. They are the free spirits. Life Path 5 is often adventurous. They can be adaptable. They really don't, they can be allergic to routine, is the way I wrote it. It's not that they can't be responsible, because fives can be very responsible. They just need some change. They need to shake it up. They can't have routine and structure in a way that feels oppressive, because 5 wants freedom. They want experience. So they really can often crave freedom and experience above most everything else, but it has to be on their own terms to a certain degree. So, the growth point then for the Life Path 5 is building enough stability that freedom doesn't turn into instability, right? Um, I'll just leave it at that. So, they need, we all need stability to some degree, but they really need that freedom. So, their growth is to build enough stability in their lives so they can have that freedom and it doesn't create an instability. The personal mission then of the Life Path 5 is to actually live many lives inside one lifetime, to try different things, to have various experiences, and to show others that change is not something to fear. It's how we stay awake and vibrant and how we participate in life. That brings us to the Life Path 6. Life Path 6, you sixes, I love you. You're the nurturer, responsible, warm, family, and community oriented. Sixes are natural caregivers, and they typically feel the most fulfilled when they are supporting others in some capacity. So, this could be like a teacher or a nurse, but it could also be like a coach or like someone who supports others in any kind of way. It could be way out of the box with these two. They really, yeah, they really are caregivers. They really are cheerleaders for others. They really have this, and I'm not saying the warmth and the tenderness doesn't come with strength. These all have their own ability to have strength, but they just are wonderful hosts often. They really make people feel comfortable and warm just in their presence. So the growth point then for the Life Path 6 is not overextending into like martyrdom or unsolicited responsibility. They can really take on a lot, and it's part of their growth to learn what is theirs to take on and where they can have boundaries. The personal mission of the Life Path 6 is to build a home. Like, this could be a literal home, an emotional home, and an energetic, safe space where the people around them actually feel safe enough to be taken care of, and that allows them to nurture others and to receive nurturing as well. That's their personal mission. Life Path 7 is the seeker. The Life Path 7, as the seeker, they are analytical, they are introspective, they are often drawn to truth. But like the truth underneath the truth is what I want to say. They often want to know the why behind everything. Sevens are philosophers and researchers and often teachers in a different way. So they really want to seek more truth and deeper truth. So sometimes they're building on other people's truth. They might be discovering scientific, like new planets, for example, or medical advancements, or discovering a totally new way to do something because they're passionate about the why, right? So this can be really exciting. But the growth point for the Life Path 7 is staying connected to people instead of only retreating fully into their own head. Because they're so analytical and typically some version of very intelligent, they can have a whole life in their own head. So part of their growth point is connecting with people instead of just retreating entirely within. The personal mission then of the Life Path 7 is to dig past the surface of things until they find something true, and to trust that the answer is worth coming up for air for to share with others. Life Path 8 is the powerhouse. They are ambitious. They are business minded. They are comfortable with authority, comfortable with money. Eights are built for achievement and often lots of material success, like earthly success. They are often great with money, their own money and other people's money. Part of being ambitious, though, right? Because remember, all of these can exist on a spectrum. It's how do they use their ambition? Are they using it for the good of all? Are they using it only for monetary gain? And how do they temper to make both of those possible? So, part of the growth point for the Life Path 8 is defining success beyond just status or bank account, like real success beyond just what we can monetize. And the personal mission then of the Life Path 8 is to master the material world well enough that they can use their influence and resources to actually move something bigger than themselves. So kind of the greater good. So learning the kind of the system well enough that they can influence and use their resources for the greater good in some capacity. Life Path 9. You nines. Nines are, I love all these in their own way. And I do run the numbers of several like friends and loved ones. And I do use this quite a bit. You guys know I love numbers. So Life Path 9, humanitarian. They're the closer in some ways, but they're also compassionate. They have this ability to focus on the big picture. They're wired for causes kind of bigger than themselves. They're able to finish cycles and projects and get things like across a finish line. So it's wonderful to have a 9 on your team. And they really are kind of considered the old souls here, often here to give rather to than to accumulate. They're not so worried about material success as the 8. They are more humanitarian focused and are really often focused on giving back in lots of ways. So the growth point then for Life Path number 9 is to let go. Since the number 9 is the number of completion and release, sometimes depending on where they are in their personal journey, it can get sticky and they cannot want to release. They cannot want to complete. They cannot want to let go of things or be very intensely focused on the outcome of things. So their growth point is learning to let go. And the personal mission then of the Life Path number 9 is to leave things, people, places, the world a little better than they found them without needing to get credit for it. They're not really about the credit, but their personal mission is to leave things better than they found it, whether it's a person, a place, the world, all of it. That is their personal mission. Now we're going to cover the 3 master numbers that I mentioned. So if in your math at the final number you had 11 or 22 or 33, these are your life path numbers. Life path 11. This is the intuitive. This is a master number. So it's an amplified 2. So it's kind of like 2 supercharged. They are highly sensitive. They are visionary. They're often described as having kind of a direct line to insight or inspiration. The growth point for this master number 11, so everything about the 2 would also be true about the 11. It's just like a little supercharged here. Their growth point is managing the intensity of that sensitivity that they possess without burning out. Now, the example that came to mind here was like someone that is, let's just say, like a social worker in social services. They are probably highly intuitive and tuned into their clients, very tapped in, really able to have insights for change and for helping these clients in this example. And it's for that person, then how do they balance the intensity of the sensitivity and the care that they have without burning out completely? The mission, the personal mission of the Life Path 11, this master number, is to translate what they sense before others can even name it. So, turning their raw intuition into something the rest of us collectively can actually use. Life Path 22. This is also a master number. It's an amplified 4. So if you're a 22, Life Path 22, also read what, or read, listen to what the 4 is or dive into what the 4 is. But 22 is the master builder. So they are big picture visionaries, not just building in the day to day life, but they can actually execute, turning huge ideas into real, tangible structures in the world, the way we really do things, right? So the growth point then for the Life Path 22 is trusting that big vision instead of shrinking out of self doubt, right? Like trusting that this big vision is for them and not shrinking into, yeah, just not trusting themselves or self doubt. The personal mission then for the Life Path 22 is to build something at a scale that outlasts them. So, kind of legacy that other people could actually stand inside or work with, not just admire for a distance. And while this can be a physical structure, this could also be like a legislature, for example, or like a way something is done, a process something is done that stands even after them. Like I'm thinking about how in like labs, for example, there are technical processes that lab technicians use to like process our blood when you get blood work, for example. A Life Path 22 would be fulfilling their mission if they designed a system that they work within that then outlives them, right? So, Life Path 33, our final master number, this is an amplified 6. So, again, everything from the 6 applies, but it's also the master teacher here. So, this is the rarest of the 3 master numbers. They are selfless, they are healing oriented, they're often drawn to guiding or uplifting others on a larger scale. Um, and again, like I said, all of these can come with light and shade. So when someone is the strongest version of themselves as a 33, they could be like Jesus figure, like a Jesus, right? When someone is the challenged version of a Life Path 33, they could be a cult leader, really damaging people. So it's how we work on our own energy and use our own self as it applies to these life paths. So the growth point for the Life Path 33 is pouring into others without depleting themselves, and making sure that they are having integrity in the process. The personal mission of the Life Path 33 is to hold space for other people's growth so completely that they help an entire community, not just some individuals, heal and rise. So, this is kind of revolutionary type energy here. So, I want to just make a quick little comment about our Cliff Notes tour that we just did. Every one of these numbers really deserves its own deep dive episode because there's so much profound information. But I don't know that you guys want to listen to a series of like 12 life path numbers as individual episodes. There are a lot of them online. Use your discernment, use your intuition for which, like, hypothetically, let's say, like YouTube creators, which ones resonate with you and which ones don't, and take what resonates with you and leave the rest of any of these numbers. And remember, even if something rubs you the wrong way and you think, I'm nothing like that, there might be something there for you to investigate. Is that showing up in any area of my life? Why am I so resistant to that emotion or to that label? There's just more information for you there. And I'm going to give you a couple of pro tips before we wrap up that almost nobody mentions that I feel like are really important. So, pro tip 1, your life path number is a tendency. It's not a life sentence. It's not this is who you are and you have no choice in the matter, right? We know that we have free will and we know that we can work on our personal development. And this is something that often gets missed. Numerologists are pretty clear that life path shows you your natural leanings and your potential lessons, right? It's not a fixed script that you're locked into. Free will still runs the show. So think of it less as like a prediction and more of a personality lens. It's useful for self reflection. It's not a reason to avoid responsibility for your choices. We all have free will choice of how we use these characteristics of our personality. It is just a little bit of an understanding of your own lens. Pro tip number 2: your life path does not exist in a vacuum. This is actually really exciting. It really also interacts with the personal year number you're in and the collective year number. So here's the layer that ties everything together, especially with what we do on this show here. Every calendar year has its own numerological energy, too. We call it the collective year or the universal year that we are all in. We have done episodes about this if you've been here. So for the year, this year we are in a 1. How do we calculate the universal year number? It's calculated in the year itself. So 2026, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 6 is a 10. And then we add those together, it's a 1. So in December, I released the 11 themes of the 1 year. Just over this summer, I did the revisit of like which predictions of those themes have already come to pass, what is the energy we're in with those themes. So in a 1 year, it's a collective reset, new beginnings, energy that every single one of us is moving through together because that's the energy of the year number, no matter what our personal life path is. But here's the exciting thing: that collective energy doesn't hit everyone the same way. It interacts with your personal life path number. And a life path 1, for example, living in a 1 year might feel like everything is starting to click into place, or like they are really feeling called forward into action in a different way or inspiration in a different way, kind of doubling down on that one energy of the 1 year. A life path 9, on the other hand, might feel that in the same 1 year, they might feel it as like tension, since a 9 is about closing chapters and, wrapping things up and releasing. The collective energy is pushing for beginnings in a 1 year. So that same year, some numbers out in the world might feel completely different in their lived experience than others, depending on our life path number and what we carry. So 9 could feel really uncomfortable in a 1 year. Like, wait, I'm just wrapping things up. I don't now want to have to start something new. They could feel resistant, right? Not necessarily. We're all different. So I have a fun little exercise, like a deeper layer, because I know some of you really love the spiritual tools and are continuing, like me, to want to learn more and more about yourself and about your own growth in the world. A fun little exercise to play with after the episode. No calculator required on this one. Just take your own life path number that we did today and a bit of reflection. So as you listen to the themes of this year, you can go back and listen to the 11 themes of the 1 year, which was released in December, or I think it was like in the beginning of July, I did the mid-year check-in on those themes. You can go back through and ask, where is this year's collective energy that might be kind of opening things up for me or handing you an opportunity, a chance to step further into that mission than before. So you can I'm going to give you a couple questions to be asking for yourself. Like, where might this theme press into my growth point, for example? So first question is, how does this theme allow me to grow in my personal mission? So we talked about every number's personal missions, right? If you need to go back through, get your personal mission. And as you listen to, like, let's just use the 1 year because that's the year we're in. I do these every year. So you can do this again every year if you want to. So for the 11, the 11 themes of the 1 year, you can go back knowing your life path number and just kind of feel into, for each of the themes, how does this theme allow me to grow in my personal mission? and go back to your number's personal mission from earlier and ask, where is this year's collective energy handing me an opportunity or an opening, a chance to step further into that mission than you have before? Second question that you can play with is, where might this theme press into my growth point? We all have areas we're growing in as human beings and as life path numbers. So, this is kind of the flip side of that coin, looking at your growth point, the thing your number tends to wrestle with, or the theme that might be coming up for you to learn from, and ask where of each of this year's themes might be leaning right on that growth point for you. That's usually not a warning sign. It's just the universe pointing at exactly the work that's already yours to do and giving you the perfect energy and opportunity to work on it. So that's the really fun advantage with numerology. Once you know your life path number, you can better understand how you'll likely dance with each of the themes in any given year. You can better understand yourself, how you relate to things, where you have the opportunity to grow. You'll have the advantage of awareness, and that changes everything. So I highly recommend go back and check out the mid-year check-in on the themes and even the 11 themes themselves for the 1 year, and run your own life path number through those same 2 questions. Keep an eye out, because if you're new here, like I said, I do the breakdown of the themes every year, usually right at the end of the year or beginning of the new year, so that you can always come back and see how the collective year that we're in will bump up against or help flow in your own personal life path energy. And again, I actually just not long ago released the mid-year check-in on the themes and predictions. So this will add a completely new layer that is deeply personal to you based on your life path number. And again, you can also run it for friends, for your own kids, for your partner, for anyone that you want, to sort of see how those themes of the collective year might kind of tangle with those personal themes and personal traits of ourselves based on the life path number. There's so much there. So 30 seconds of math today, and now you've got the number that's been sitting quietly in your birthday your whole life. Whether you take numerology as a spiritual truth or just a genuinely fun mirror to hold up for yourself, hopefully today gave you a little bit more language for who you are and where you're headed, so that you can step into the life that you truly want to create. And if this hits home, you could do the math for someone you love and text them their number, or even better yet, you can share this episode with them and then you can talk about your numbers together. I promise it is a conversation starter. And I have a quick little ask before you go. I would love to hear from you. Do you want me to dive more into the reading of your personal numerology? Are there other tools in this whole mystical, metaphysical, spiritual realm that you're curious about? Do you want to learn about tarot? Do you want to learn about moon cycles? Do you want to learn about your energy field? There is so much that we still have to talk about, and I would love for you to let me know. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you know how important you are to me. I am always sending you big hugs and lots of love. Bye for now from inside Spirit Speakeasy.